being a targeted individual, I'm always super, super skeptical about any time we see any, super tragic event in headlines on social media, especially when it comes to people just losing their shit and going bananas. We deal with a lot of people who have had alters, who have, been chemically and frequency induced into violence, all kinds of things. There was a report about up north in New York about how a woman attacked a whole bunch of cars outside of an Aldi's parking lot with a butcher knife. Well, why the fuck would somebody do that? I don't know, gang stalkers maybe. So listening to that report, it was very easy for me to read between the lines and hear what was actually going on. And the fact that, okay, this woman was bait and bashed. She was literally targeted to the point of losing her shit and then filmed when she finally fucking snapped, right? And us targeted individuals, we know all about that. And the ones that have gotten through, the onslaught of their targeting without going bananas and figured it out, we know how to respond to these situations. So yes, every time we see that, I'm very, very skeptical. This Lindsay Clancy thing, I cannot get on board with this. I can't do it. I have seen how people who have been manipulated through abuse, having alters, having all kinds of mind control, having all kinds of things. They crack, they snap, do something super fucked, but you see it in their body language and on their face later on. They're either completely devastated, they have no memory, and they can't process the atrocity that they were actually able to commit. We've seen this time and time again. A lot of them end up taking their own lives because they're so screwed up about what's going on. That is not the case with this woman. I have seen evil. I have looked evil dead in the face. And I'm telling you what, we have a lot of evil going on in our world right now. And so to excuse it and to normalize it, I think it's a very, very dangerous slope that we're on right now. Even if, let's say that she was actually a target, for her to sit there in court completely blank-faced and watching the videos and hearing the testimony of her children's bodies, how they were found, the colors of their skin, all that kind of stuff, and to not have any kind of emotional reaction or response to that. These are your children. These are your children. I don't care what kind of hormonal disruption that you're having. If you are truly a victim of mind-altering and emotional-altering type of conditioning, like we have been, you're going to react to that. You're going to respond to that. And there's nothing in there. Nothing. And I am absolutely disgusted that we have so many, especially women in our society, that are defending and normalizing this shit. We cannot normalize and excuse this kind of evil, especially with the amount and the lack of accountability that we have in our society right now for really, really terrible and shitty behavior. I'm sorry, and I know that a lot of people are going to react to this and think, oh, how insensitive, how can you be a mother? Well, you know what? Because I went through targeting, I've been through, hear that shit? Been through targeting with children, and my kids are alive. So, been through alters, been through the abuse, been through the conditioning, been through all of it, been through the missing child, having to wonder, been through the 18-second phone call where all I hear is my child scream in the background and click. I've been through it. I do not see a mother when I look at that woman. There's nothing. She is soulless. There's nothing in there. And I'm sorry, but there's no remorse there. And normalizing it is absolutely disgusting.